Well, it looks like it's African month in the month of September. Yes, it's usually in the month of May, but this month has been centered, or this week most likely has been centered around Africans all over the globe across different sports, not just football, but going down to sports like athletics, where we had the World Athletics Championship concluded right there in Tokyo, and African countries doing us proud. Remember last week on the show, we talked about the Nigerian who got the only medal. Yeah, it ended yesterday, so yes, it's confirmed that the only person to get a medal was Oluwatobiloba Amusan, and we had other good appearances from other Nigerians too. But Africans didn't stop; they didn't raise their leg from the paddle, and that meant that we had a very, very illustrious kind of tournament for Africans. That's how we're starting the show today, and this is your first time joining us. This is the Gliders with Euphoria and the gang, and like I always like to say at the start of the show, I'm a Liverpool fan. When they are not playing, I never get to walk alone. I am not doing this alone. Rema will say yellow. It's a yellow day. Well, we did not inform somebody, but I'm doing this alongside Mikolo, who is somehow wearing the same color as me. Mikolo, how are you doing? Making a return on the show.
I look like a sunflower. But it's good to be back on the show. Yeah, to add some warmth and some, color to the show. But yeah, it's nice to be back. Missed the show, missed the listeners. Be catching up with sports, obviously. But then it's good to be back. Zaddy's back in the building, and he came with some colors. Well done, guys. It's good to be back.
Well, it's great to have you. Missed you on the show, and I think I've been with you on the show this month. Yes. But you're making a return after missing last week. How are you doing, Timothy?
Yeah, I had a little growing, and then I'm back. So yeah, very, very nice to be back on the show once again. Let's talk sports as we always do, and there's a lot to talk about. So not the best of weekend. I mean, we're smashed in Mina, but I mean, Inter won, Chelsea lost. Arsenal did not really impress me because there's this kind of love I have for Arteta. But yeah, let's get the show rolling. A lot of sports to talk about today. He mentioned Mina, that's in the MPFL. And the MPFL, we had representatives on the continent this week, which meant that we'll be talking about the CAF tournament. That's the CAF competitions, which we are in the prelim stage right now. We have 4 representatives for Nigeria in the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. We have Remo Stars, the champions of the MPFL, the defending champions of the MPFL, Rivers United, who are the second team, and of course Abia Warriors. And then in the Confederations Cup is Abia Warriors, who finished third, obviously, and Kwara United. Mixed tales for the teams, because the teams on the other side of the divide, which is the Champions League, had impressive results, while those in the Confederations Cup are somehow one leg in, one leg out when it concerns the next stage of the competition. We're going to talk about all of that later on the show, but let's start the day with what is majorly the talking points for the start of this week, which is the Balon d'Or, which is going to be released today, and we're going to find out who the new king, the new queen of Europe is, and we'll be getting into all of that. But before we go into who you think would win the men's Ballon d'Or, the women's Ballon d'Or, the Yanchin for the women, the Yanchin for the men, the Copa Trophy, I want to start by saying that this is probably one of the things that gets football fans the most divided when it concerns the Ballon d'Or. And I mean, in the last 5 years, I want to start with the last 5 years, which of those awards do you think have divided football fans the most for you in the last 5 years? I know it's always, when it's Ronaldo and Messi, there's always going to be a battle between the two fans, but I mean, they've kind of fizzled out of the scene in the last 5 years. So which of those Ballon d'Or years have divided fans the most, in your opinion, before we go into this year's edition? I think, if I'm being honest, it's the one that they gave to Rodri. No disrespect to Rodri, but to be very honest, till now, I do not still know and there's that criteria they put: fair play, individual awards, the fair play trophies, and then there's this other last thing I can't remember now. But they put all of those three criteria together, but still it doesn't really add up to me. I felt that Vinicius Junior should have won the award last season. Whatever politics that happened, I do not know, but you would even know from the fact that Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, who you can say, I mean, is a very, very top gun in football politics. We've known him for many years. You understand the reason why he and his team decided to boycott the ceremony, and they're also doing that this season again. Although I don't think there's any reason. Maybe this reason is valid if they boycott it, because none of their players really have a chance. They did not win any trophy in the league. They did not do so well in the Champions League. They lost out. Maybe Mbappe would have had a chance if they won at least 1 or 2 trophies, but nothing happened. So boycotting this one doesn't really matter. But last season, boycotting it meant that okay, there was something that was wrong, and giving it to Rodri, even people who really did not, anybody that just maybe felt, of course we can't change the fact that I was awarded to Rodri, but anybody that probably tilted with Rodri was just all of those agenda. I do not like Real Madrid, you know, Barcelona fans maybe not liking Real Madrid, maybe Liverpool fans not liking Real Madrid and all that. But I felt last season was the one that divided people the more.
Mikel, same, because you kind of laughed when he mentioned the name of the person.
I laughed because he said the one they gave to Rodri. That's not really funny.
Oh, okay. So are you of the opinion that
in your own terms,
he won it, or
which one did they win that was more controversial? And then Timothy just went ahead to say the one they gave to. So that's
so
why it was.
You laugh for my God.
You know when you go to school and lecturer, if you don't pass it, they say they gave me C. They gave me C. So that was what it is. So I feel like that's been like the most obvious one. I also feel like probably the one that Modric won over Ronaldo in his last year in Real Madrid. You know, the whole
but that one is not in the last 5 years.
Okay,
that was 2018.
Yeah. Okay, that's been like 7
after
years. Yeah, that's after 7 years. But I feel like in most recent years that has been like the most obvious robbery.
Are you
that we've
guys
seen.
overlooking the one where Messi won over Haaland?
Joy, don't give me color food. Joy, don't give me color food. Thank you for coming to the kitchen.
I owe you a pack of capsules for making sure we don't leave this kitchen without that meal. I feel like that has been the most obvious one. World Cup tax, 6 goals, 5 penalties, tax, and all of that, and winning over somebody that won the treble, that had a first season. I think that was his first season in the league, and then that was the second season in the league, and then he scored like over 40 goals, led them to the treble, and then Messi was still benefiting from World Cup tax that ended, you know, World Cup that they won with 5 penalties, six goals and all of that. And you know, the justification, I feel like the way people justify things without logic just makes us know that everybody has agenda in the world. Because if you say this and then you stick by it, then when it comes to your favorites, you are now looking to like change the rules. We've seen that over and over the years. I think even this year Emi Martinez is still nominated. Emi Martinez for what exactly? For what is Emi Martinez nominated for the Yasin Trophy? Because of performance in 2022, because Kolo Muani could not finish off very well, and I blame Kolo Muani for that. Because Kolo Muani has now led us into an alternate universe where Emi Martinez is seen as world class. He's seen for all of his antics. If it was a different goalkeeper that would do all the antics that Emi Martinez was doing, it would have been fined. Would probably have been called to order and all of that. But because Emi Martinez does it for an Argentine team that is led by Messi, it is all right. It is fine. They are allowed to mock. They are allowed to make racist remarks. We saw the jubilations in Argentina when they won the World Cup. How Emi Martinez was trying to make mockery of Mbappe, painting a black face and all of that, but nobody can call it out because almighty Messi is there. So I feel like that has been the most obvious one, the one of Messi over Haaland to win trophy number 8. It's just the same way they did the propaganda for the World Cup, they did it for the same thing for the Ballon d'Or. The propaganda before the World Cup, Messi should not retire before a World Cup. That subconsciously entered into the mindset of a lot of people, and it felt like they just gave him a free run to the World Cup, and that was the same thing that happened in the Ballon d'Or. I feel like that's the most obvious one. I think it's even more clearer for me than the one that Rodri won over Vinicius.
That's something.
Thank you for that news. I would have been so pained if we went outside the studio and I didn't say that. I'll probably just call for a rerun of the show. I would bear the cost to rerun the show and say that thing.
So guys, let us know which of this Ballon d'Or wins for the men, especially. I don't think we used to have debates in the women's category too, because I know that a lot of fans were thinking of the year in which Beth Mead did win over Putellas, but I mean it's not usually something that's creates so
like
much.
close shave,
yes, you understand. So which of this men's Ballon d'Or win do you think divided world football the most in the last 5 years? I intentionally
in
did not
2020
I don't want to expand it. They refuse to hold it and then
they robbed
Lewandowski.
And then they gave Messi the next day, and then they gave Lewandowski best striker.
That was when they created that.
They created it for him.
That category. So guys, all of this I've told you, tell us yours in the comment section like you always do, and thank you to everyone who is always keeping that place busy. You guys are the real MVP. If you've not subscribed, this is your first time, please subscribe on the channel, turn on your notifications, because it's always a party on the gliders, not just the show. We always have aftermath for you on the show, so yes, keep it locked in on the show. Let's go to 2025. Obviously by the time we come next week, we will have had our winners. Fire would have been everywhere. There's agenda have been cooking.
Cry go don't feel it.
Agenda have been cooking for the past 4 months. I know someone who has been cooking on a daily basis. Oyiga.
I'm waiting for Oyiga's cooking.
On a daily basis.
Oyiga dropped a track yesterday ahead of Balon D'Or.
He cooks on a daily.
Did you guys see that tweet where he put out one small Barcelona boy said, "You don't get age. Say we go wait till you ripe."
Yeah, he said agenda doesn't have age. Now
I saw one this morning before we came in. He said, "I resumed to the
CGPA.
office." He said, "I went to the office today, and somebody randomly from somewhere just brought an apple to my table, and nice one. I won't keep me involved tonight." Abasha level. I know they chop.
So guys, I'm sure that by 7 p.m. everybody will ensure presence to mark register, and by the time we come there, everyone will have scattered, because anyone who gets it, there's always going to be the other side of the divide who will be arguing that it's not going to be it. Let us know yours, and now let's get prediction of the guys, and I will just be taking one word. I don't want any analysis paralysis. I know that maybe next week we already have our winners, and then we feel okay, somebody was unjustly not given, we can talk about it. Timothy, men's Balon d'Or, who wins for you?
I want to be crazy. Vitinha,
Mikolo.
Which one is Vitinha? All right, so on behalf of the responsible men in Nigeria, since this is a criteria for winning the Ballon d'Or, he's married, he's very loving, he doesn't go on yachts to party, he doesn't sit out games because of an injury in his pubic area. So for the good of the sport, for the image of the sport, we need a family and responsible man, a practicing Muslim and all of that. So Ousmane Dembele is the face of the sport for last year. So Ousmane Dembele for Ballon d'Or, please.
For the women, Timothy, we have Putellas, we have Bomati, we have the three ladies we have Kelly, we have
I think for me it's going to be Marina.
Marina,
yeah.
Okay.
She came into the Arsenal side
despite losing the finals of the Euros
to England, and then came on and then spurred Arsenal to win the Champions League. Definitely very technical player, changed the whole scape of Arsenal's game and made sure that they went all ahead to win that one.
Okay. You think that Barcelona will still retain it this time around? I
think an Arsenal player has to win this time.
Okay. For the Copa trophy?
Copa. I feel like it's going to be Yamal, right?
It's still in that age bracket.
He was not nominated for the Copa.
Okay, I think you cannot nominate twice.
It's within the Douay.
Obviously.
So I think
you don't mention the name.
Nah, you don't with that.
So you are going
with
Douay. For the Yantin trophy for the women, we have our own Chiamaka Nadozie there, but I know that it's going to be a very tall shot for her to win it over the likes of Chelsea and England's Hannah, who won the treble with Chelsea and won the Euros with England. Domestic treble and the Euros, obviously. I think the Euros is what solidified for her, because she had a very phenomenal Euros for England. So I think we are all agreed. But for the men,
Donnarumma, obviously.
Nicolo,
David Raya.
I
wish I had it. But yeah, it has to be done now. I feel like I still have PTSD of that guy. I tweeted about him 5:46 a.m. yesterday.
Wow.
To be honest, he lives rent free in my head, and it showed why.
And it showed why actually in the
yesterday.
game.
So,
I think we'll talk about all of that
Yeah,
as the
Donnarumma,
game goes
obviously,
on.
he had an amazing year for Paris Saint-Germain. You know, kept them in so many games. Is the reason why they won the Champions League and all of the trophies that they won.
The only
He
game
had-
you can probably
he
pick
had-
him out is the final, which
Yeah.
was not any of his fault. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the final against Chelsea.
Yeah.
But
Of
every
the
other
Club
team-
World Cup,
yeah, every other
But apart from
team
that, he had like
was
very
perfect.
it was
So-
monstrous, especially that second leg at the Paris at their home ground
Parc
against
des
Arsenal in the
Princes against Arsenal,
semi-finals. That was really amazing. That's why you need a goalkeeper. That's what they get goalkeepers for. Goalkeepers could be the difference between getting 3 points and getting 1 point. It could also be the difference between getting knocked out in the semi-finals or going to the finals and winning the Champions League. He was that main factor for them.
I think he has started to show Pep that is actually the reason why he got him. Prove Pep right that that's the reason he got him for
They might
that
still
amount
fight,
of
Sha,
money.
but for now, it's still the golden jewel.
I
They might
mean-
fight on ball playing, but the primary reasons why he's being bought as a goalkeeper, I feel like he's going to do that exceedingly well.
I don't know. I'm not Pep, but I don't think Pep and any other person is oblivious to the fact that he is not that person that you categorically say, okay, this
Ball
has to be,
playing.
except you want to force him and he'll be prone to mistakes. But for the traditional goalkeepers, I think
And his role here as a traditional goalkeeper
as a
is
traditional goalkeeper, he is
definitely-
superb, and he makes people who love traditional goalkeepers proud on any day as he stands
May they
in
not give
between.
Martinez again. Oh.
Man, this is 2025. Please. World Cup was 3 years ago.
In between
We don't
the
dey-
sticks.
we don't dey prepare for next World Cup. And I still they give person Martin for winning last World Cup.
All right, now let's move from the Balon d'Or talks and talk about the box office games we had this weekend. It looks like the Premier League just felt like they wanted to feed and overfeed fans this weekend because we had 3 major box office games. I mean, there were other games in the EPL, but 3 box office games. We had the one between Chelsea and Manchester United, or Manchester United versus Chelsea, because Chelsea were away in that time. We had Arsenal versus Man City, and of course, the final one being the Merseyside derby between Liverpool and Everton. Liverpool still on their 100% start. Some people will say it's luck, some people say it's something, but yes, they are yet to drop points in the league this season, and even in the Champions League too.
Yeah.
But we're sticking to the league because we're talking about the Premier League this weekend. Let's start from the game that happened at the Old Trafford, where the Old Trafford curse continue for Chelsea Football Club. Now, what did you think go wrong or went wrong for Enzo Maresca in that game, Timothy?
Before I answer you, let me ask you, what was now the final deal between you and Felix? Because on the last episode,
That's true.
on the last episode, you guys
I
had
think
a
that
bet.
reminds me. And I was doing my makeup today. I was supposed to dress like a clown.
Oh, I thought-
that's gone.
I thought you
Let's
guys
go.
changed the plan. That's why I asked that. What was
You're
the
supposed to
final
dress like a
agreement?
clown.
No, I was supposed to make up like a clown.
You need to make up.
Sure, you won't do it for any.
No, she needs. It's an
It's a side joke, but
Okay,
go on.
okay.
So you need to make up. No, you don't need to make up.
All right, so for the game against Manchester United, I feel like Maresca showed, I don't know the word to use, but he showed not being a manager that can be confident at some point.
Cowardice.
Yeah, cowardice. Thank you very much for that word. Coming into the game against Brentford, I'm trying to accumulate games.
Accumulate games, yeah.
The game against Brentford, I do not see why a Fofana who had not started in 6 months was starting that game. You were looking at, okay, there's always that place of probably looking at the next opponent in view, but the league is still fresh. You do not want to start dropping points. Luckily for you, the Champions League, if you drop point against Bayern, which they eventually did, you can still catch up for those points. It dropped the likes of Rhys James and Kukureya in that game, started a Gerald Atto, who is still very young, not much experienced, and you know how much Brentford has always been a thorn in your flesh
yeah.
for you. In the last few seasons, started those players and make those substitutions. Then he brought in a Palmer, although maybe the Palmer sub was okay because there's a little complaint of groin injury and all that. But I feel like from there, he lost it. They were about winning the game, but if those right calls were made from the beginning of the game, I don't think at that point
They
they would
put in
even
that
get.
position.
Yeah, they would have not been in that position where Brentford would have come to draw, because if you had started the right players, they would have won the game. Coming into the game against Bayern Munich, there's this thing with, they were leading 2-1 at the point. Not like Bayern Munich were so exceptional. I'm not trying to downplay what Bayern Munich did in that game, but at a point, Chelsea could have caught them, especially when it was 2-1. I saw the likes of Andre Santos, Alejandro Garnacho warming up on the sidelines, and it took a lot of time before he could bring them in. Because there's that place of when you see, especially fans, you see fans when your team is probably down or your team is chasing a game or trying to increase your lead. So we saw it with Arsenal yesterday. When Bukayo Saka went to the sidelines and the whole fans of the Emirates stood up, started clapping and started chanting. That's one thing that it does to you, especially even for the players' confidence. But he failed to bring them in, and then he brought them in after Harry Kane had scored the third goal. Same thing against Manchester United. It was not his fault that Robert Sanchez got that red card. Yeah. That happens. But why I say cowardice is you don't do substitutions. I don't know when last I've seen a coach make 3 substitutions in the first 20 minutes in a game where in games you are likely to. The reason why Fofana was removed eventually was because of an injury he sustained in the game. You have to look in view, okay, would there be an injury? Then why remove? Okay, I can understand the Esteval removal. It's probably the youngest on the block. Neto is still experienced and all that. But why remove Neto when I know that you want to say, okay, probably because you are one man down, and he wouldn't have known that Casemiro would also have gotten a red card. He probably brought Tosin in so that I can use a 3-back man of Tosin, Chalobah and Fofana. But it was not helpful at the end. You should have left one person who would be running. A runner, and that guy is the Pedro Neto who you took out. Yeah. As much as Joao Pedro is a very, very good runner who can also use the ball, and Palmer is also there. But there's that scene with I don't know, but 11-11.
Someone that can beat you out of the pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
That can take you out of pressure.
And there's that thing about 11-11 alone. It's very, very hard to match up the game. It's very hard to press, get the balls. You still see tight spaces in between. Not to talk about 10 against 11. So it's that instance where you need someone that can run, take the balls to the byline, who can also win fouls for you. I mean, if you win fouls, you have an opportunity to reset. Then your players can go in, okay, try to win the aerial duels, probably cause an issue for the opponent. But he made all those wrong substitutions, and I felt that was where he lost the game. You saw it in the second half. Manchester United were shit in the second half. I mean, look at the possession. They failed to. The only chance they had was the Bruno Fernandes chance in the close to the 80th minute where it was removed. It shows you how shit they were in the second half, and it showed that if Chelsea had not gotten a red card, maybe, I'm not saying it would have probably been so, but maybe Chelsea would have not lost the game. And if he had players who could probably do something, at the point he had to take off Palmer. He now brought in an Andre Santos. So it showed you that if he had left those guys on the pitch, especially in the second half, when Manchester United showed that they are not strong enough to match Chelsea, even with 10 men, 10-10. It's not even like, oh, you are maybe the one down on 10 men and Chelsea's on 11. It was still the same amount of players, and you saw how badly Manchester United played. So if he had done the right substitutions, then Chelsea, I don't think, would have lost that game. They may have not won, but they would have not lost in the same way they've always picked up draws in recent years, also at Old Trafford.
Mikel, do you have anything else to add to that? And I'm looking at it from the Manchester United angle, where finally they've gotten 3 points. I know how happy you were for those 3 points. I'm also happy. It's for the same reason. But do you think that at this point in time, this is something that will spur confidence for the team, or is just the usual Manchester United under Amorim? They get one win, reset, and then that guy still needs to get a haircut.
That guy would do.
I think it's a spur of the moment thing. I think it's just adrenaline facing a top side. That's always happened with Manchester United. You saw what they played against Arsenal. If big teams are coming to town, you'd always want to play your best. And I think also the red card to Sanchez also gave them like a bit of confidence. And they were also playing at home, even though they were not categorically better than Chelsea on the day. Even when it was 11 versus 10, you could see if I could assure you that if Enzo Maresca probably just one change, just bring in a defender, probably take out just only Esteval and just observe the game, observe the flow of the game for the next 20-30 minutes. You could even play 1-0 like that till probably the end of the first half, and then you'd have probably come back into the game. So I feel like it was an act of cowardice by Maresca, just like what Timothy said. But I also feel like on the side of Manchester United, you couldn't see a clear game plan, right? And I felt like even at 11 versus 10, you couldn't see the way they wanted to play, right? A coach is supposed to have a bit of philosophy, a bit of tactics coming into the game, you could still not see the identity. Even when they were 11-10, they were still trying to play long balls, they were still trying to long the balls. And I remember complaining when I was watching the ball that you're one man up and you still cannot play to the advantage of the numbers. So what then have you been training for? Because to be honest, even 11 versus 11, there are teams that would, dominate you, play ball, and then you can just see that, okay, this team, they're trying to beat out of the press, they have a style of playing, get the ball left, triangle, and all of that. These are like training ground stuff that you see that are being reciprocated on, that are being recreated on the field of play. But even with 11-10 man, Manchester United could not say this was our way of beating Chelsea's press. This is our way of walking the ball to Brian and Bremo. This is our way of trying to get Sesko on the ball. All they wanted to do was just continue lobbing the ball and hoping for a miracle to happen. You don't take advantage of numbers that way. Numbers, football is a game of positions, right? If there's a missing position, your job as an opposing team is to be able to find those spaces and exploit them. Yeah. So why are you a professional football team if you cannot exploit spaces on the field of play and you're still trying to go into the lock of trying to find long balls? We are trying to lob the ball to Sesko so that we can luckily just knock the ball in. So I feel for Ruben Amorim and his side, fine is a win. I mean, I'm personally happy because he gets to keep him on the job. But I feel like if you're looking at it foundationally, I don't think this is a and I think United fans can see that. I mean, maybe the truthful ones can see that this was a fluke win for them. It doesn't give any confidence. It doesn't spur them any confidence. It doesn't show that they've been working on anything, to be honest, because you could still not see the game plan, right? I saw a tweet where somebody said, oh, so apparently Ruben Amorim's tactics work. It's just that they have to be one man up before they could work. And even at that, it still wasn't working because I didn't see any game plan from them. For Ruben Amorim, I feel like it's far from over.
As long as
if it was a team like Manchester City or Arsenal, Manchester United would have still lost that game easily. Like easily.
So the funny thing is that I'm so pained that Maresca made those panic changes, because if they had removed just Estival, get balanced at the back, bring in a new goalkeeper and just play 4 at the back and then one man up front, I could still tell you that United could still have lost that game. If you play against a Manchester City with 10 man down, or even against an Arsenal that wants to play the ball, that has like tactically sound coaches, I can tell you that United would not have won that game even with 1 man up.
Yeah.
All right, that's for Chelsea and Manchester United at Old Trafford. Now let's move to the other big game where we had at the Emirates in Arsenal versus Man City. And before that game, there were a lot of conversations especially a lot of talks from the coach of Man City, Pep Guardiola, where he talked about the fact that if Arsenal go on to win the league, he can confidently say that, okay, they've spent money. There was the fact that Bernardo Silva came out to say that Arsenal are not the team to beat for them, it's Liverpool. All of that. And I mean, that went into the pitch of play yesterday. And at the end of the day, it took substitutes to get Martinelli to get that 1 point at home for Arteta. But I mean, there are a lot of things to pick out from that game. That game being the 5th time that Arteta will go on to face.
Has truly changed your life.
He has gone on to face Pep and would not lose to Pep Guardiola, becoming the first manager in the league to do so.
What a trophy for you.
There's also the fact that Pep might have gotten more players to actually try to prosecute what he has in his head after those back-to-back losses at the start of the season, but something still seems to be missing for Pep Guardiola. What do you think it is? Let me start with you because you're the Arsenal fan there. How did you rate that performance yesterday? Are you part of that fan base who believe that you guys started just like we talked about cowardice there? The lineup was a bit of cowardice from Arteta going into that game.
Yeah, I feel like for fans on social media, I agree with the point of view of, you could have been more bold and all of that. But also, I don't want to be an hypocrite to say that I don't think, irrespective of the fact that Arsenal won the corresponding fixture last season by 5-1, I feel like any team that Pep Guardiola is bringing to your field, you would always be wary of it. And I remember I was talking to my friend, as confident as Arsenal were going into that game, as at minutes 1 or 2 minutes to the start of the game, he was still texting me to say that there's this fear factor about Pep Guardiola's team, when they come to your stadium, you would always be scared. I know in hindsight now, going by how they played, how everything eventually turned out, people can say, oh, you should have been more expressive, you could have been more this, you could have gone man for man. But it's just still Pep Guardiola. Any team that Pep Guardiola brings to your stadium, you're always going to be scared. But also on the side of Mikel Arteta, I feel like, there's an act of cowardice. Fine, I understand you are facing Pep Guardiola. He's been arch rivals with like Arsenal for a while. Always beating Arsenal with like so much confidence, except for the last 5 times that we faced now. But I just feel like he could have been more confident about his lineup. You could have put Eze in the 10 and probably just, even if you want to be a bit more careful, you could have just not tried out 3 defensive midfielders. Probably put somebody in chance of creativity, and the subs could have also come earlier, because eventually he felt that over the years, the reason why Manchester City have always defeated Arsenal has always been that midfield battle and the bullying of Arsenal's defense. Now Arsenal has cobbed the part where Haaland gets to like bully Gabriel and Saliba. Now you are more defensively compact. What is left now is to go for the kill, go for the creativity, go for somebody that can always, deliver that one ball, just like what we saw Eze do in the last minute. Imagine Eze having the liberty to do that from the first minute and having all of those transitions that eventually happened in the midfield, because City's midfield yesterday was there for the taking. If Arsenal had paid a normal regular distance, there's no KDB, Bernardo is past his prime years. There's no Gundogan and all of those guys. These are also
Rodri
new guys.
Still fighting.
Rodri still fighting fitness, and Zubimendi is there and all of that. So I feel like he could have been more expressive and he could have just gone for the kill. For Manchester City and for Pep Guardiola, I feel like he also recognizes the pattern. He knows that Arsenal is starting to catch up with him, and he just wanted to be more pragmatic yesterday, because the last time he came to Arsenal and tried to play free-flowing football, he conceded 5. So for Pep Guardiola, on his end, I can understand his tactics coming into the game, but I wanted to keep it. What I would not understand is the likes of Rodri and Bernardo that have always tried to form moral superiority about how you want to play, what style to play, and all of that. So what did they play yesterday? And this was both of them. I wonder what Rodri has to say about the way they played yesterday. They had probably just less than 30% of the possession, and this is the lowest that Pep Guardiola, a team coached by Pep Guardiola in the Premier League has had. That's the lowest position they've ever had. And the last 2 that they've had has also been against Mikel Arteta. One in 2025 and one in 2023. So I feel like there's lots that's happened in that game, and Mikel Arteta could have probably be more trusting of his midfield and go for the kill in that game.
Unable to go for the kill, but I mean, still saving his head by not losing to Mikel Arteta in the last 5 meetings of those 2 teams in the Premier League. So yes, for those teams, I mean, different results, still shaky for them, but there's the champions, talking about Liverpool. Which I had Emmanuel here right now to talk about how he feels. But yes, Liverpool 5 wins in 5 games. Timothy, what do you think other teams need to do to be able to eventually break down this resolve, I'll call it, because they've been conceding goals and they've been getting last minute or late winners. What do you think teams need to do to be able to break down the resolve of this Liverpool team and prevent them from doing back-to-back Premier League wins?
Someone made a joke of a tweet. I can't remember the handle, but the person put out that referee that, which AFCON was it, 2023, where that referee ended the game?
No, it's 2020, 2021.
Okay, yes. 2021, sorry. Yeah. The last one was 2023. The referee that ended the game in the, I think, 86 minutes, said that's the only person that can save any team against Liverpool this season. Because if you wait till the 90th minute or something, they could get a goal against you. But for Liverpool, they've shown that as champions, when you're coming back into a new season, you always have to prove that mettle, and that's one thing that Pep Guardiola always also did in the years when they won the Premier League back-to-back 4 times. You go, even if you're not going to win it, but you show from the beginning that you still have to compete till the very, very end, and that's what Liverpool have shown. They may have problems defensively. They know it. That's why they try to get Maguire. That's why they also get the Giovanni Leone that they got from Parma. But he's still young. They'll still have to build him up to get into the game. But attacking wise, they've done good business for themselves. You saw the subs. I mean, took out Cody Gakpo and brought in. He took out Cody Gakpo and brought in Florian Wirtz. That was like a very good substitution. He also brought in. He took out McAllister for Jones, and that shows you how much intent they have in attack. Ekitike left, and there was an Isak that came in. In midfield, they are very, very good. And right now, Gravenberch is playing the football of his life. I mean, he's not playing like a defensive midfielder that you just expect to sit back. I mean, he's marshalling play both from defense to attack. He's breaking in play. The way he takes the ball, you know, there's that thing of take the ball and probably pass it back. But I've watched Gravenberch play in just 5 games. I've seen all of those things last season, but this season he's doing it so frequently and he's doing it so well. There's that thing, he picks up the ball in tight spaces. You know, there's that thing of, okay, let me pass it back to who passes it to me, or let me pass it back to the defender. But he opens up his body, and then he transitions quickly and gets into tight spaces and finds either Salah or whoever is on the right wing, or even maybe Florian Wirtz whenever they use him in that 10 position. And that's how much they've been very, very good in attack this season. So for Liverpool, I do not know who can stop them. Only Crystal Palace is unbeaten this season. They go to Selhurst Park in their next game in the Premier League. I don't know if Crystal Palace can stop them. Maybe Maguire will sell the game to Liverpool, because I mean his mind was at Liverpool and he almost had a medical that was going to push him to Liverpool. But I think Liverpool, they are doing well for themselves at this point in time. Stopping them, I don't know who is going to stop them. They play Manchester United at Anfield. I don't think on match day 8 they play Manchester United at Anfield. I think that's going to be a whitewash. I do not know. Maybe Ruben Amorim can prove me wrong. But
they can recreate the 7-0.
Yeah, looking at their fixtures that precede that game, I don't think they will lose to Crystal Palace. I also don't think they will lose the next one before the Manchester United one. So it's difficult to really put Liverpool aside right now, and that's where you feel for the likes of, and that's where you can understand probably the pain of Arsenal fans at this point, because if you have been 5 points already in 5 games into the season, and knowing that you have played big teams, I know Liverpool have probably not played the bigger teams, just like Arsenal have done. Arsenal have played Manchester United, they won. They've played against Manchester City. They played against Liverpool. They played against Manchester City. So maybe you can factor in.
The next game is away to Newcastle at St James Park. So it's like the tougher places that you always have to go. The tougher fixtures. You've gone to Anfield, you've gone to Newcastle, you've gone to Old Trafford.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe you can also factor all of those things in, that maybe Arsenal will catch up eventually. But still, football is not played on paper, and it's not 1+1 where you can just imagine that. This
is what you will get.
Exactly.
What you already have.
Exactly. So for Liverpool, they are doing well for themselves right now. Let's see if they can take this to the very end.
Let's see if they take that to the very end for Liverpool. And before we take our leave away from Europe, just one more thing. I want to ask the guys, who was their best performer of Nigerian descent, whether the person has played for Nigeria, male or female, or the person, if the person has played for Nigeria, male or female, or the person just have something to do with Nigeria, Nigerian blood. So who was your best performer in Europe this weekend over the... I think I know both of you want to say the same thing, so let me go with you first.
I think Alex Iwobi. I watched I watched Lazio against Roma. Fisari Dele Bashiru left out early, but I think it's obviously Alex Iwobi. Aside the goal and the assist that he scored, you saw his impact in the game, trying to find Muniz many times, trying to find the likes of Ari Wilson also many times in the game. He was very good with his passing, bringing the ball from deep into the midfield, transitioning into the attack. He did so well for himself, and you saw it. He also earned himself a man of the match performance that was given to him. So obviously, Alex will be in 5 games. Yeah. Where is Edafe?
Call out the fire. Bring him out. Time to fall out.
So Alex, what will be for you?
Nicolo will do the cooking well.
Okay.
No. I'm not cooking. You've already said sous chef. So I'm going to go with Chiamaka Nadozie. I feel like she's having a very good start to life with Brighton women. Made, I think, 11 saves.
Wow.
In 2 games she's already at like 14 saves and all of that. So she's getting set
11 saves in the game. Tell me they won the game.
Yeah, they did. I think it was 4-1. I saw 4-1 Brighton women.
Because if you make 11 saves and you lose, then
I feel like those are the kind of Chinese that you just say, you've changed my life. Because you can see like Brighton fans are like in awe of how much she's like impacted them, the fans, the players. I see their content from time to time, and then the players are very very excited to have her in. You know, just like what we said about Donnarumma, it's very important to have like a goalkeeper behind you that you just feel like very confident for to say that, oh, we can go, this person can win us this game. And then for Alex Iwobi, 2-man of the match in 5 games, you know, 10 years at the top of the league, yet they say he's getting into the Super Eagles because he's the coach's nephew. All of you that say that, God will judge you. On the final day, you will be missing in heaven. I can assure you of that. But yeah, very great one. I feel like I also saw some couple of tweets yesterday where, you know, there's just a way that we don't get to like get the best of our players, and it's very frustrating, especially for people like Alex Iwobi, getting very close to the box. This is someone that can also always deliver the final balls and get it to the striker. But in Nigeria, we pay him with Ndidi, we pay him with Onyeka, and tell him to do a lot of running, start switching the ball like it's Paul Pogba. He's not a Paul Pogba-esque kind of player. He's a player that wants to play in and around the box, play across the striker, play with the striker. The final ball to Wilson is not something that anybody would want to attempt, but because he has that kind of style, he's able to play. Also, some of the pitches are also very horrible in Nigeria to like try to attempt some of that. For example,
even the one we went to go and play in South Africa.
I mean, so some of those passes, and these are some of the things that you want people to consider. But you know how people are now. Everybody just recycles that old joke. I'm glad they put somebody in his place in the last international break, where he just come online to like spew rubbish, and everybody wants to pile on Alex Iwobi. I don't know how you would say that he doesn't know how to play ball. It is very absurd for me to hear that I say Alex Iwobi doesn't play ball, because now I saw a tweet yesterday that said that all of the star boys that we used to hype in Chelsea Academy, in Arsenal Academy, how many of them have been able to stay at the top for 10 years? So play in the Premier League for 10 good years.
Not just at top in the Premier League and not leave, not get loaned out.
Not get loaned out. Even the likes of Kalimusin Odoi that were highly rated in Chelsea's academy had to go on loan before eventually finding his feet. This is someone that's gone from Arsenal to Everton, and now he's doing very good at Fulham. So it's not everybody that's going to play in Arsenal. Nobody's going to win the Balon d'Or and all of that. But he's playing very good football. There are so many. If you watch Olaino's podcast, I saw Olaino was on a podcast sometime, I think 2 months ago. I don't know if you saw the clip of that, and he was mentioning some of the insane ballers that he's played with in the Coban Academy, and then they were asking him where they currently are at the moment, and then some of them are in the Championship, some are in League One, some have had to have early retirement. So for you to see someone that has gone through academy system in England, came through the ranks, and is able to stay in the Premier League for 10 years, he is a very good footballer and is beyond average at best. So 5 games, 2-man of the match performances. Come on.
Okay, for me, I think I'll go with the women's, the women of the Super Falcons, and I'll stick with one. You've already talked about that, Jose. Let me stick with Ashley Plumter. She's having the time of her life in Saudi Arabia, and I'm really happy for her because last season she had to bounce back from an injury that kept her out of even the women's team earlier on, before she was able to get back and finally made it to the WAFCON, and of course went on to win. Right now, life for her there is been beautiful. She has had almost every game she's played so far this season. She has had goal contributions. She had 2 assists over the weekend. Last match day, she had an assist also, and is captaining that side in a very fantastic start for her with Al Ittihad in the Saudi Arabia Women's Premier League. That's for the Nigerian stars all over the globe. Now let's quickly take a break, and when we come back on the show, we are going to move from talking about European football to talking about African football, with focus on the Nigerian teams on the continent. Stay with us. And if you are just tuning in, you're just getting to this point, or you've stayed to this point, thank you so much for staying. It's been fantastic doing this with you since the start of the show. And to show your appreciation, it is time for you to win big on the platform in which we are on. This is BetWGB TV, and if you go on the website to place your bets, to be able to play games, not just games, virtual games also, once you use our promo code as displayed on the screen, gliders, you get a 200 naira welcome bonus to be able to attempt to win your millions. And when you win those millions, remember that you're going to pay tithes to me. I was on that, plugged you in Yes, I said that. Now let's move from European football down to African football. It's time for Africa. It's time for us to talk about the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. Beautiful start to life this season. It's a different tale for Remo Stars this particular season in CAF competitions. I think in the last 3 attempts they've had before this one is always a shaky start, or a start that has already shown that, okay, they are not going to move to the next round. I mean, if you're playing away from home, they maybe pick a goalless draw, a 1-1 draw. They come back to Ikene, get to struggle, and eventually lose out in the last minute. Happened to them twice in Ikene. And then the last one last season, it was obvious, very, very obvious from the start when they went to North Africa that this is not going to happen, and they lost out in the first round. But this time around, strong start for them. Their first game, although they are playing home away from home because they are currently playing at the MKO Sports Complex in Abeokuta. It was a 4-0 win for them yesterday, and that is one leg in already, because they are going to also play the second leg on the same turf against this team. Timothy, how impressed were you yesterday, seeing that this team is a team that has almost 80%, or would I even say 90% of the players that started the game yesterday are players that were not on the team in the last 3 seasons?
Yeah, so I wrote an article and I published it this morning. I put it on a group, and then conversation began to spur around it that, okay, so it was Remo Stars. I saw that they've grown in character because of the win against Zilimanju. If you read the article, you understand why I said all of those things, because I took it back from when they started playing in the Confederation Cup against Bekin. Then they played against Medema. Then they played against Bekin again in the Champions League. And this is the 4th season they're playing on the continent. So I've looked at all of these things. You can look at the opponents, Zilimanjo, and say that, okay, you expect Remo Stars to go past them and all that. But let's factor in the fact, like you did say, if you play with a new team, almost a new team from who had always played, and you're not even playing in your stadium, it cannot pitch where many of your players are used to, then kudos to you. Right from the press conference, the pre-match press conference, I saw confidence, I saw much of growth from the manager, the way he spoke, the way he talked about many things, approaching the game, and then on the field of play. From the beginning of the game, of course, you expect the manager to create chances, but from the beginning of the game, you could see that spark that, okay, Remo Stars are not yet to take any chances and feel like, okay, we'll go and finish it up in the second leg. It was from the beginning they knew that, okay, we wanted to do this. You know, it's something you say, okay, let's just try to win 2-1 or 2-0. Then in the second leg, even though you're playing about, okay, we'll just try to play maybe 1-1. At least we'll struggle. But from the beginning, there was that spark. They created so many chances, and you saw it right from the beginning of early into the game. I think they scored in the 12th minute. Beautiful corner goal. Leonard Ngenge, very good one for his confidence. I mean, if you had such a, I don't know if I would say bad tournament, because in the games, especially the first game, it was decent, not until that own goal. In the second game, he had a very, very terrible game. For that kind of person getting a goal against in the CAF Champions League, I mean, you saw the way he celebrated, ran to the manager, celebrated with him, and it was a goal. You saw the second goal, Ebuka Anthony, beautiful set piece routine, and I saw someone was complaining that Eric Chell had no set piece routine at the chance. Sorry. Beautiful set piece routine, and that's one thing I've always known with the likes of Remo Stars: crossing the ball, finding a way to get the goal. I mean, set piece is part of the game, and
they work on the little details a lot.
Absolutely, if that's the way you can get your goal, find the goal. And kudos to the person. I don't know who crossed the ball. I wish Emmanuel was here now, because he was the one on commentary for that game. But if you saw the person that passed the first ball, passed to the person in the box, and there was a striker, I don't know the striker that was in the box that was waiting for that ball, but if you watch the replay, you see that the striker was offside and he did not play the ball directly across goal. There was a cutback that found Ebuka Anthony, and that was what led to the second goal. Beautiful one. And the third goal, Goita scored the goal off a cross from the right in the 68th minute, and Samson Olasupo, a good finish. I mean, there was nobody to help him, and he said, okay, I was going to finish this all alone by myself. Beautiful win for them. Second leg is almost no brainer, considering the fact that they are going to even play in Abeokuta again. He can decide to probably rest players and they'll still win the game against Silimanju. I don't know if he's going to want to rest player, but I feel like Jabol will still want to make that statement. I mean, for it, you that you have always lost out in the first round of the continent, especially the one against Medema. That one was the most painful one. And the one they even lost to Bekin. They had gone to Bekin, they picked up a 1-1 draw. I felt they were going to do well. Then they came back to Ikene, lost 1-0. Looking at all of this, you want to smash whoever is coming at you,
and this is their biggest win on the continent.
Yeah, absolutely.
The biggest win for any Nigerian team on the continent is 2022 also.
Exactly. So if it's about winning on aggregate 10-0, I mean, why can't they do it? It gives you confidence. It makes you see that. It makes you see that. Okay, it makes my Mamelodi Sundowns. I know that okay, there's pedigree, but it makes them see that okay, we are not going to underrate this team. They can score goals. So that's the kind of feeling it gives to them. And kudos to Remo Stars for getting such a huge win.
Kudos to Remo Stars. Let's move to the other team in the CAF Champions League, talking about Rivers United. Mikel, Rivers United got a goalless draw away from home, and that means that coming back to Uyo this coming weekend, the team led by Finidi George can also have a fighting chance to progress to the next round, seeing that Rivers United is one of those teams in the continent that usually end up doing the best, not just well, the best among all our teams on the continent recently.
Yeah, I feel like they've given themselves a very good fighting chance, not conceding and then leaving it open to come and finish off in Nigeria. I feel like it was very important for them not to also concede like very silly goals, especially when you're playing against a very compact Congolese side. You could have gone either ways, but I feel like there's the experience that comes with playing on the continent every season in, season out. And just like what you said, Rivers United are one of the teams that would always go the farthest in competitions. They've also helped us preserve our coefficients on a lot of occasions. So I feel like that's the experience that we're talking about. Just like with Remo Stars, now they've continued like building year in, year out, and now it has got to the facts where they can now say, oh, we are going to the next round of the playoffs, or even some people are even giving them a chance to fight against Sundowns and get to the group stages. So I feel like Rivers United have grown in character as well over the years, and then you just have the feeling that even when the whole draws were made, if there's a team that you can tip to say, oh, this team is going to go to the next round or probably make it to the group stages, will definitely have been Rivers United. And then kudos to Finidi George as well as Yema with what they are doing with Rivers United. Probably I would have just said this was already done and over with if they were playing in Rivers, because Port Harcourt is always like a fortress for Rivers United. Even when they are playing in the league, you don't just go there and then pick points. I mean, you have to be very extraordinary to say you want to pick points in Port Harcourt. So I feel like the only reason why I'm not saying this is well and done over with is because they're not playing in Port Harcourt, and probably because they are playing in Uyo. And we saw what happened last year with the likes of Rangers that played in Uyo. And
I think for Rivers always a different story, because they somehow know how to do it on the continent.
Well, and also because of the fact that they're also close to Uyo, so their fans will always like travel down. They always get the support of the South every time that they go to play there. It's different from Rangers playing there or any other team adopting them as their home ground. So if Uyo people definitely see Rivers United as probably an own team, it's almost like Aqua United is playing, and they always come all out to enjoy continental football with them. So I'm really tipping Rivers United to go all out for the return leg. This is a very favorable result for them. They didn't concede, even though they could have scored. I feel like they had a couple of chances. We were following the game undiluted. I feel like there were some chances that they could have scored, but then it's still a very fair result for them, and I'm giving them a very big chance to have both of our Champions League teams in the next round.
Stage.
That's really, really good for us.
The next round,
in the next round, and
after we don't build that coefficient strongly first.
Any word that wants to happen in the next round, we're ready for
face
it.
I mean,
for Rivers United, as much as they play good football, I still have an issue with their goal scoring. Like Mikolo said, I watched them at the Valley J Cup. I followed them very well. They play good football. They try to pass the ball around, get to the attack ball. Putting it in the back of the net has been an issue. The MPFL games they've played also this season, 4 games, they've struggled to score those 3 goals that they've scored, and I feel like they need to do better. I mean, you can score in Uyo, score 1. And then your opponent scores you 1-1. Then there's already problem. So I mean, they need to do better in terms of goal scoring. And looking at the coaches they have, Yema has coached on the continent before. Finidi has also coached on the continent before. So I feel they can afford to get Rivers United to the next round. And like Mikolo had said, it will be very good for Nigeria on that part of helping our coefficient,
especially in the in the more respected competition,
which is the CAF Champions
Yeah,
League.
exactly.
Yeah, looking forward to what Rivers United and Remo Stars will do this coming weekend. They will both be playing in Nigeria. Sorry, 3 of them will be playing in Nigeria, but we'll go to the third person that's going to be playing in Nigeria too this weekend. But Rivers United will be playing in Uyo, the second leg of this particular first round, and we'll have Remo Stars playing in Abeokuta too, because the Congolese side had to agree to play in Abeokuta because of their pitch was not approved
They had
by
the issue
CAF.
same last. They had
They
the
had
same
the
issue
same
last
issue last
season
season with Rangers, so they had to play the 2 legs in Uyo now.
And
It's
I think they are
happening.
broke as well. So
I mean,
yeah.
for a champion, but that's not for us to ponder ahead about. They are not
We're not
Nigerian, but we are not Comoros
journalists.
So let's focus on our team now. Since talking about focusing on our team, we talked about the 2 Champions League side. We had a very good result with Remo Stars, a fair result with Rivers United, but it was the opposing tale for the 2 sides playing in the Confederations Cup in Abia Warriors and talking about Kwara United. Well, you can when we talk about it. When we talk about it, you understand that it's something in a similar light with what happened in the CAF Champions League, because in the Confederations Cup we had a team play at home in Uyo, talking about Abia Warriors, and went on to play a 1-0 draw. Now they are going away and have to ensure that they win, because nothing will happen if they go and play a draw there. So they have to win. They have to, because there's no what's it called? There's no advantage anymore. There's no home advantage. There's no home or away advantage anymore.
I think it's still
no,
there.
no, it's no longer there.
Okay.
It's no longer there. I think that is I've known that from Remo Stars, because that's the reason they are always ending up flopping in the first round. Happened against Medema. Happened against.
So against Medema, I was decided on penalties.
So that's what I'm saying. So there's no advantage. They won 1-1-1, and that was the reason. And then they went on to lose that very scandalous penalty routine for them in front of their home fans. So it's been for like 3 seasons
I think
now.
Medema was 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0. That's what I'm saying. That it was based on penalties that they won, that they lost.
I'm just saying that there's no more home advantage in CAF football. No aggregate score in CAF football. If it is 5-5, you guys will play penalties. If you say no away goal rule, that's what I'm looking for. There's no more thing like that in CAF competitions for the past 2 or 3 seasons. I think they started it the same time in which European competition started it, when it left the Champions League and of course the Europa League and the rest of them. So Abia Warriors 1-1 yesterday, got a goal first in that game, and we're looking at them too, because Remo Stars kept scoring and we were feeling like, okay, Abia Warriors have scored, maybe they'll keep on scoring, but that was not going to be the tale, and we were hoping that maybe they'll just keep that their 1-goal lead in that game. But I mean, late on in that game they conceded, and now they'll have to fight for their life in the next round of the or in the second leg of the competition, because they are going away. Timothy, are you giving them a fighting chance, or do you think that this is over for Abia Warriors on the continent?
I did not follow the game because I was majorly on Remo Stars, and on Saturday I was on Rivers United, but it will be hard for me to analyze their game, but I can still give them a chance, because Joliba are not such a mighty team. If they had gotten that result against the likes of maybe a Bekane or an Esperance de Tunis, or I mean, so, but it's still Joliba. There's still that chance that, okay, if you go there and probably play 1-1-2 and okay, go to penalties can be decided by any, like, who wants it more. It's a game of luck, if you want to use that word. So I still can give them a chance. Play your football. At this point, they don't even have any mindset. There's no mindset of going there to probably want to defend. You have to kind of find your way to get a goal, try to maybe score an early goal, then keep it till halftime. Second half, also try to push, and maybe something will come off all of those energy or the kind of attitude they put into the game. But it's not far-fetched for them. They can still match up Joliba. Like I said, I've mentioned those teams. If it was those teams, then I would probably not be giving them any chance at this point in time.
That is for Abia Warriors. Looking forward to their game. And the final game, I don't think we have so much time to talk about them, but that will be Kwara United, because they went on to face the Ghanaian
Where
side.
are they playing first? Let's go. That one, the first.
We'll see who lies, because confirmation from respectable sources say they will play in Abeokuta, but the fans and the team, or I mean most of the fans and journalists from Kwara United are saying that they will play in Ilorin. So we'll see who lied. According to Fabrizio Romano, that's what we've been saying for the past 2 weeks. This weekend they get to play after going on to lose in a very interesting clash away in Kumasi. They went on to play. Is it Kumasi or Accra? It was Kumasi. They went on to play a 4-3 game and ended in a defeat for Kwara United. They kept on coming back. By the end of the day, it wasn't to be for them, and they lost by 4-3. But they have a fighting chance.
Cold
Yes, quote by the coach Sani, who says that they'll come waiting for you.
Waiting for you in our home.
In the last season, say if they
borrow Baba will come Stanford Bridge. If they borrow Baba will come Ilorin.
Doctor, anyone shall come to Nigeria. That's the word for Ashanti Kosoko in the words of the coach. Not in his words. He did not say come to Stanford Bridge. We're just saying
they go hold you for neck.
Because they're already saying we'll see who lied. So let's not go and misquote here, please. That's for continental football. And MPFL, we saw some games yesterday, and I think the most respectable for me was that win by Eimba, fighting back against Bendel Insurance to win by 3-2, and still remaining unbeaten this season, and they are topping the log currently. Talking about Eimba.
They're coming to Lagos next week.
They are coming to Lagos next week. It's going to be a clash to behold, because the Lagos team went away to Mina and lost by 4-2. So they'll be wanting to actually hold their fort, hold their ground here in
Bayelsa United
Lagos.
lost back-to-back home games.
I mean,
it's not good for
Monday Odige, but that is so much to talk about.
And then Shooting Stars also got their
got their first win of the season. Yes, against Konkalipat FC. Well, I mean, it's like
Toby Adepoju can reply your message.
relief, not happiness, because they went on to play 2-1 and almost bottled that particular lead yesterday. So yes, it's more of relief for them. Their first win this season, first 3 points for them. Talking about Shooting Stars of Ibadan, and that's so much football we had over the weekend.
I think there's one more highlight from the MPFL was Ojetoye Walu getting an assist.
Oh yeah, Musa Malik, my boy.
Yes, coming back to
the league and then marking it with an assist. Is
beautiful. Yeah, not his first game though, because I know he played in the game in Lagos.
He was influential to the goal that led to the first goal that Abimala scored also last before this week.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Last that was their home game.
Yeah, the
in
game
Lagos.
against who did we play against? Yeah, Barrow FC.
Yeah, but this one was just like very exciting to like see him back in like goal contributions.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the fact that I just saw that his name popped up. I wasn't watching, so I just saw like Wale crossed for Musa Malik, and that was really nice.
Yeah, talking about cross, it's already time to cross over to the other side of the screen. But before then, let's talk about the fact that it's been a lustrous career that came to a beautiful end for Shelly Ann Fraser-Price yesterday at the World Athletics Championship. That will be the final time she's racing professionally for Jamaica. Next time you'll be seeing her race will be on all those parents' races that she's always racing at her school at the entire sport.
That'll be shelling people.
That's going to be, and she got a silver medal to raise it up to 17 medals won at the World Athletics Championship over the years. Beautiful career. And of course the Kenyan women did a clean sweep when it concerns the distance races. From the 400 meter to the 5,000 meter was all won by Kenyan women. Gold for Kenyans, and they were all raising the continent of Africa's shoulder high in that place. Botswana, which is over 80% desert, went on to win in rainy conditions yesterday in the 4x400 men's that's men's finals, and got the gold medal over the USA. It was beautiful to behold. 4x400. Yes,
and I think it's also very beautiful that Leslie Tebogo will do the 100, will do 200, will do 4x1, and let's still do 4x4.
And
amazing
finally
athletes,
got a medal, because he ended up not getting medals in any of those other races, but eventually would get a gold medal in the 4x400. He has had to fight injuries for the past couple of months, and this is a beautiful end for his season in Tokyo. And that would be a beautiful way to end the show today. Bright colors, bright day, bright everything.
We'll see who lied.
We will see who lied. Over over the week. It's been wonderful doing this week.
And Balon D'or tonight as well.
And like I said, no, we'll see who like this. It's bright right now. We'll enter the battlefield from this evening. So yes, it's been wonderful doing this week. You guys, from the start to the very end, if you've not subscribed on the channel, please subscribe. If you've not shared what you've been enjoying with your friends, this is a high time you do this. Share it with your friends so that next week when we are going to do the battle of who won the Balon d'Or, who did not do this, all of that, you will get to, your friends will also get to listen and enjoy what you've been enjoying on the show. My name is Euphoria. I did this alongside Mikolo, your Zaddy, and of course Timothy, the fine boy, today. So yes, till we meet again. Bye.